Welcome to the Cool Breeze Show, y'all. This is Ray, aka Neil Soul One. I'm here with my boy Trip, and we are back. It has been more than a minute, but yet and still, we are excited to come back and bring you guys the show. We have some wonderful topics to go over, and we are prefacing this because we are on the precipice of the relaunch of the larger umbrella organization called Neo Soul Cypher. So we're very excited about the fact that Neo Soul Cypher is coming back. The Neo Soul Cypher show is coming back. The whole website experience is coming back. The in-person events, they are all coming back, and they will be hitting us soon. You'll be seeing some things that will get you really excited about what's to come with Neo Soul Cypher. But before all that, we've got the Cool Breeze Show.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
what is the Cool Breeze Show, Trip? What is it all about, my brother?
It's about what me and you normally do naturally, right? It's me and you meeting in the hallway. It's not just hip hop. It's not just R&B. It's politics and everything else, but
Yeah.
with a flavor, with the community. Same community we're gonna do with the organization that we already have, right?
Yeah.
But we branch out a little bit on this show, so we want you to touch base with Neo Soul Cypher when we roll it out. But we feel bad for leaving you out of the Cool Breeze show for a little bit. But we
Yeah.
back now.
Yeah, we felt bad because the reality is we were still having the Cool Breeze Show. We just weren't sharing with you. And so it's important to share it with you guys. So I want to give you the date so you can understand what day we're in. This is Sunday, and it's June 28th, actually, 2026. And I just had a wonderful birthday early this month. I'm excited about that. A lot of wonderful things have happened, but we want to talk about some interesting subject matter today. And again, we're not just about music on the Cool Breeze Show, but we do want to start with music. We want to start with a topic that came to my mind recently, and I thought it would be something that I wanted to share with you guys. And then Trip and I started talking about it, and it's a name. It's a person. It's an originator. It's someone who's actually in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and her
Okay.
name is Sylvia Robinson. All right. So who is Sylvia Robinson? Sylvia Robinson is one of those names in hip hop and rap that you need to know. She was one of the foundational pieces of bringing street culture, street um, essentially rhyme saying and rhyme telling and rhyming to the masses. And how did she do that? So Sylvia Robinson was herself a artist, going dating back to the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. And as a woman and as a singer and as a producer, sometimes she did not get her due because only because she was a woman. I mean, she wrote some songs for some major artists back in the 60s and the 70s, and she actually had a wonderful hit herself in the early 70s. But oftentimes she was not, mentioned or even given actual writers credit. Or producers credit because that's just the way the industry was back then. So her and her husband, I think in the mid 70s, decided to change all that. They started a record label, and then they started another record label, which is known as Sugar Hill Records. And everyone will know that name, Sugar Hill, because the first major rap song to ever hit the airwaves is by the Sugar Hill Gang. And so what is the Sugar Hill Gang? Sugar Hill Gang is composed of three rappers that came to the fore because Sylvia Robinson actually literally plucked them off the streets of Inglewood, New Jersey, which is a suburban town really across the bridge from the George Washington Bridge, which takes you right into, if you take George Washington Bridge, it'll take you up into Washington Heights. You go a little further down, you can be in Harlem, and then you go across a little bit, you're gonna be in Queens, all that stuff. So
Hold on. Can y'all tell where he from? Keep going.
yeah, so it was a regional, it was a local thing that she knew about, and she was hearing like, oh man, this underground sound was happening, and she felt like it was something that people needed to hear about, and so she put together a group, and this group was composed of Big Bank Hank. Um, um, uh, who do we have?
Don't do
Big
it.
Bank. What's that?
I don't know them.
Oh, you don't
The
know.
group, but I don't know their names.
Master G. Master G was the youngest guy, and then oh my God, the other guys.
I'm actually rapping the song in my head, trying to find out who
All
it
right,
is.
but anyway, three rappers, and the reason I mentioned Big Bang Hank first is because I believe he may have been the first one she identified, and he worked at a pizza parlor, and the reason she identified him was not because he was, throwing out major rhymes, because he wasn't. She liked his voice. She thought that he had the kind of voice that would resonate and do well in terms of making records. And obviously, she knew about making records because she made some of her own, and she produced some of her own. And so she got Big Bang Hank, and she got Master G, and
because
what's
we all
that?
know. And I am Wonder Mike.
That's right. There it is. Wonder Mike was the third guy, and honestly, he almost essentially became the leader of the group in many ways.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Wonder Mike, and she found those guys. She brought them together, and as you know, we came out with Rapper's Delight back in 1979. I remember it well because I literally memorized every single word in that
syllable, all of it, right?
15-minute version. I remember sitting down in front of my parents' record player and just sitting there, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is incredible!" This is me. This was me. This is how I felt. This is how I wanted to express myself, and it was incredible. Now the reality is that we for us to talk about this, we have to also talk about authenticity. We also have to talk about the real originators as well, because Wonder Mike, Master G, Big Bang Hank were not the ultimate rappers that you would see and hear in New York City on the streets and at the parties and at the parks. They were not. You know what? They were representative of those guys, frankly, but they were not those guys. They were not necessarily writing the rhymes that you heard. For example, Grandmaster Caz, who has a show currently on Sirius XM radio I guess it's every day, yeah, with Sha Rock, and they do a show on Rock the Bells Radio, the morning show, and he literally wrote the rhymes that you heard from Big Bang Hank on that. I believe that Big Bang Hank was actually his manager, and somehow he got those lyrics. I don't know how, but somehow he got those lyrics. Nonetheless, we have Rapper's Delight. We've got the Sugar Hill Gang, and we've got Sylvia Robinson, but she was not just the Sugar Hill Gang. She also brought together one of the first true, I would say, rap groups, if not the first true rap group, and that's the Furious Five. And if you know the Furious Five, and who was the DJ, Trip, for the Furious Five?
Grandmaster
Flash. Grandmaster Flash. Right. And so Grandmaster Flash, thankfully, he's still with us today. I actually got to meet him a few years back at South by Southwest. I got the picture, so I can prove it. Absolutely. I will have to put that up there. When we post this, I will definitely put the picture up as well. But the reality is that Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five brought together a series of rappers primarily from the Bronx, New York. I can't 100% say they were all from the Bronx, New York, but the reality is that they brought us one of the most iconic songs. And not to say that Rapper's Delight is not iconic, but the message is not only incredible rap song, but it's an incredible social commentary as well. And so she was able to
this day, it's the kind of rap song that we could debate. Like, we could have a debate who has carried forward his ability.
No, right? Absolutely. And honestly,
we end up doing this stuff off screens a lot of times.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I say,
yeah, and when you talk about the best lyricist and one of the best rappers of all time, you got to mention Melly Mel, who is a the prime lyricist, not the only lyricist, but the prime lyricist of the Furious Five, and the things that he was able to do and the way his delivery was just incredible.
I would
Um,
say prime lyricist of in foundational hip hop.
what's that?
Prime lyricist of foundational hip hop.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I would agree with
You
that. I would agree with that.
you don't you don't get Rakim without him.
No, no, he definitely changed completely the game in terms of the cadence, in terms of the
Well,
how the message is delivered. I mean, he completely changed the game. We'd be remiss if we did not underline the impact of our man Melly Mel.
right.
So, but Sylvia Robinson, obviously, she two of the most impactful groups of all time in rap were her groups, and it didn't end there. I mean, there was a whole host of other groups that came out of Sugar Hill Records, and what we'll do is when we post this, guys, you'll see that we'll share some of those groups with you so you can see all of them because her legacy lives on in those groups. But again, as a woman in the industry, she is iconic. She's someone who has to be recognized historically for being an entrepreneur, bringing a multi-million-dollar label to the fore, bringing rap to the fore, and doing so at a time where who thought this was going to happen at the time.
Right.
One of the things I always like to talk about.
Right. She's so foundational. I didn't know her name until you told me earlier, and I recalled it. She is so foundational to hip hop.
Yeah.
Like,
No, absolutely.
Did we get here
Absolutely.
without her?
And to me, you don't get the Russell Simmons of the world, you don't get the Diddy's of the world, and we ain't talking about the bad parts of Diddy. We're talking about some of the more entrepreneurial innovations that he made. But you don't get the kind of the black entrepreneur-led labels unless you have Sylvia Robinson, frankly.
Right.
And so props to Sylvia Robinson.
Yeah, props.
Yep. Now, one of the things we also thought about in conjunction with this show when we're talking about people who were so impactful in the music industry is that we lost someone most recently who is considered to be iconic in the music industry as well. Someone who's had a decades-long impact in the music business, and not just in R&B, but literally across all genres of music. We're talking about Mr. Clive Davis, and I believe he was 94. Passed away, and one of the things that I didn't realize, Trip, is that he's a lawyer, actually, Harvard trained lawyer.
Oh, I know. No, I know.
I did not realize that, honestly. And then he became head of Arista Records, or Arista Records.
They gave so many opportunities to black artists. It's not even funny, right? And we know about the big ones, right? We know that Whitney is because he started with Whitney, but he's been around so long, giving black artists on so many different platforms, including hip hop, opportunity that he deserves the praise.
So that's our man Clive Davis right there.
One of the good ones.
Yeah. Now, one thing I will say is that he's got an incredible legacy, and most of it is positive, but it's not all positive. There are a lot of folks in the industry who will point to the fact that he did not promote some artists that we would consider truly incredible artists. The music business is the music business after all, and historically you've had many artists who were incredibly talented for whatever reason, often got put on the shelf, literally. And from what I understand, he may have been guilty of some of those
so we have a broader audience, right?
Yeah.
And I know me and you in our age range, we understand what put on the shelf means.
Yeah.
But there might be people who might tune in for a few minutes and don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Explain to them what put on the show means, because it was a
Yeah.
literal thing.
Yeah. So oftentimes what would happen is that you would find someone who is an incredibly talented artist who can really sing, and oftentimes they may even present well as well, may have a lot of star quality, but because you've already invested in someone as a music label that you want to promote first and foremost, you don't want that other person, for whatever reason, to potentially take shine away from the artist that you were focused on and that you have a vision for. And so what you will do, what happened sometimes is there was a concept of payola. Payola was when you would pay folks at the record at the radio stations to play your music as a music label, and sometimes you would pay people not to play your music as well, and that's really what putting on the shelf is. So that's one form of putting on the shelf. I think the other form of putting on the shelf is that you don't even make the record. I mean, you make the record, but you never put it out. You literally put, you put the record and the origin tape on the actual shelf, and you never actually put it in the stream.
It never gets released. Like they never
you never promote it.
So now, you can go viral now.
Yeah.
Right. Back then, if they put that thing on the show,
there was no SoundCloud, there was no YouTube. There were no ways for you to get your music out except through primarily the labels. And so that is, they were the true and ultimate gatekeepers at the time. I don't know if people have seen the movie Michael, but there's a scene in the movie Michael where, Michael's talking to the record industry executive whose name escapes me right now. And he's like, dude, why isn't my video on MTV? Because that's the only way you could get it through, is through the labels back then, right? You couldn't post something to YouTube and that was the only way. And so he threatened the guy. He's like, look, if you don't do this, there's going to be some serious repercussions if you don't get my video on MTV. They get Mike's video on the MTV, and it literally changes MTV forever. Because back then, for whatever reason, they were not playing Black artists on MTV. And but it just shows you, is another example of what the gatekeeper role that these record labels had back then.
So folks, it's how this show's gonna work, and Ray's gonna be mad at me because we have an agenda and I just kind of weave in and out. But him talking about that right there are two reasons why Black artists ever made it to MTV. Michael's one. What's the other one?
Well, I'm sorry, what was the quote? I didn't hear that.
What's the other reason Black artists ever got on MTV?
They never got on it.
No, got on.
The reason, I mean, the reality, they didn't think that the
white audience got on. Michael Jackson.
I don't know if it was Prince. Was Prince getting?
Yes, sir. In my opinion, those two, right? So that's an entire conversation you can have right there, right? You had to be that extraordinary? When have we seen? Do we have two artists like that?
Yeah, I mean, the excellence. Yeah, the excellence you had to have just to get into the game. And right. I mean, as we all know, as African Americans, and we'll talk about that particular name in a few minutes. As we know about African Americans, one of the things in our culture that we've always been taught is that you have to be twice as good. And that was something that my parents always talked to me about growing up, right? You have to be twice as good, and don't expect to be rewarded for that. Just expect that you might get into the game as a result, right? And so
that always told me twice as good to get half the credit.
Yeah, that's it exactly. And the bottom line is that you had two of the most spectacular performers, musicians, singers of any generation, of any century, essentially, that were finally made the breakthrough and changed the game completely. And we're still living with those incredible ramifications of that. So it's an incredible thing. Incredible thing. Now, I showed Mr. Davis's picture, and I would be remiss if I did not show, if I can, Sylvia.
Yeah.
Uh, Rob-
I know her. Okay.
Sylvia Robinson's picture. So we got to share it. Yeah, that's kind of you see, you kind of get a flavor for kind of what she was all about. I think this is a picture from the late 70s, early 80s when she's
That's
getting
early.
the Sugar Hill Records off the ground.
For the young folks, that's a phone cord.
That's right. Recorded phone. That's right. All right. All right. I got to, again, this is something that I got to touch on real quick. The Roots Picnic.
Yes, sir. You had a, well.
The Roots Picnic. I went to the Roots Picnic for the first time in my life. This is the 2026 Roots Picnic in Philadelphia. And, you know, incredible lineup of artists. You had Jay-Z, you had Brandy, Kalani, you had King of the South, T.I., everybody, Erica.
We're gonna circle back on T.I. because T.I. is hot right now. So we're gonna circle back on that. But go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I was really excited about making it out there for the first time. And so get out there and literally took about be a half hour, 45 minutes to realize that I was in a sea of probably about 15 to 20,000 people. There was no designated line. There was nothing. And I was like, what am I doing here? What are we doing here right now? And so literally I was about to just leave and walked about a less than a mile.
We're live. He can't stop me. I honestly believe if he was solo, he would have left.
That's true. That's true. I would have. I was convinced to go to the next entrance to see if we could get in there, and we did. We were able to get in. But again, that was another wait for another hour and a half. And so by the time I get in, I must admit, I was not happy. My whole shine was ruined. I was not, pleased. I had just missed De La Soul perform. And so I wasn't happy about that. I had Talib Kweli was part of it as well. And so I missed that. And then I had to wait for about an hour and a half until Brandy came on. And unfortunately, she lip synced a bit of, if not for the whole set. Well, I will say she's got hits for days. She's got hits for days. God bless her. But I did not enjoy the lip syncing performance. Jay-Z came on, did his thing. I had to wait probably like another hour and a half after Brandy's set for that. And in the midst of a sea of people without any sort of organization and that sort of thing as well. So an incredible experience because Jay-Z did something that we hadn't seen from him in a while, coming out with the freestyle and hitting folks as he needed to. And I love that, right? I loved him coming on and doing his set.
Bro. And Jay-Z was like, I'm old, but I ain't retired.
That's right. That's right. And, he still's got something to say. And the way that he says it is just, it's incredible. And so my brother did his thing. Now, didn't stay for the whole Jay-Z performance because by that time I had tapped out, frankly. But I got to hear the whole thing because as we were walking out of the park, it took forever, as you might imagine. And it was literally 80,000 people, at the Plateau.
A little bit. Go all the way back. We hip hop, right? We old school. You were talking about what Will Smith was talking about when he first performed.
Yeah.
And it was the stage.
At the Plateau. Yeah. So the park in Philadelphia, I'm not sure I remember the name of the actual park, but there's an area of the park called the Plateau. And if you remember the song Summertime by Will Smith, he says the place is called the Plateau where everybody goes. And that's where everybody went. And they were showing their cars and all the honeys, quote unquote, were there and all that. And that's what the Plateau was really, about for folks from Philly and the surrounding area. And so getting to be a part of that history was definitely something I was very happy about and got to experience. And I loved it. But I must admit, I have mixed feelings about my experience at the Roots Picnic. I love the fact that they do it. I love the fact that you get to hear these incredible artists, and I love the Roots. Period. I just love those. I love what they do. I've seen them so many different times, but there's got to be a better way to pull that off in the future. And I recommend that we find ways to make it better.
I don't know that you've explored enough of some of the trouble you had, right? So you should tell our listeners about how long it took for you to get in, how it felt inconsiderate, right? Because we were 3 wide. You guys were 3 wide going in, or 4 wide going in.
Yeah.
Out. And I don't think you've really said that. So you should.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think I maybe explained how uncomfortable it was, and in some ways how unsafe it felt as well, frankly. And being in the midst of a situation like that, where it's a sea of folks and there's no real organization, and you're literally like 20, 30 people wide, and you're trying to get into an area where there's 4 different terminals essentially to get in, for you to be scanned. And it's just got to be, like I said, a better way. And from what I was hearing from people, they were like, well, it's better than last year because we had 2 different entrances this year. And I'm like, whoa, if this is better, God, I hate to see what happened last year. But again, I'm not trying to speak negatively about what the Roots Picnic is really all about, because the spirit of it is amazing, and the fact that all these people can come together in a peaceful and a productive way. But it's got to be a better way to do it as well. That's my only point.
Professional by the entrance is part of it, so.
That's my only point. Absolutely. So I had to get that off my chest, man. I had to share that.
And you wait. Tell them about the second day.
I didn't go. Just essentially the second day, I was like, look, fool me once, that's on you. Fool me twice, that's on me, right? So I just was like, I'm not doing it. But this is what I will say. I've heard from people who did go the second day that it was much better. And I also heard that a lot of people didn't go the second day. So it could be because the crowds were less as a result of the experience of the first day. But it could also be that for whatever reason they did things better. I don't know. But I did hear that the second day's experience was a lot smoother.
Okay.
I did hear that.
So when parents, I'll be like, they know what that means. The younger parents know what that means.
I know what that means too. I'm not going to even say it though.
No, I am. I'm not going to say it. Watch the World Cup.
Yeah. So one of the things we did talk about quickly is that we want to circle back to was T.I., and we talked about the term African American. So why don't you roll with the T.I. piece first?
All right, so now just T.I.'s hot right now. So he's dropping a new project. He's been traveling a lot, doing his thing. Yeah. And I'll be honest, like, I don't think me and you talked about this, but I never really appreciated his catalog. And one of the things I want you to do is to start more Southern music, right? So I know you don't, you're a New York boy, New Jersey guy, right? Like if it's from the North, it's good. Like, all of them, but you really, truly don't know. I don't even think you believe that the South won. How about we start there?
Oh wow! So now you're getting to a whole nother topic.
We're doing that. We're doing it live right now.
We're doing that right now. Yeah. I mean, so I want to be very clear. There's this. I distinguish between. There's so many Southern artists that I love, completely love. T.I. is one of them.
Yes.
Outkast is another one.
You don't know about Outkast.
These boys from Houston, who I must admit, now that I live in Texas, I got to hear, about UKG, and these boys here. And I had never really. I mean, the only thing I had heard back, in the day was, Scarface, right? And I didn't
like. We can agree on that, right? He's one of the best lyricists ever.
Oh, absolutely, positively. I mean, and as is Andre 3000. There's no way I'm going to push shade on that at all. So no, my people who are lyricists across the board, I don't care where you're from, I'm down with you. I'm down with you if you're a lyricist. Now, what I will say is
Neo
there's a
Soul
lot
one.
of there's a whole stream. There's a whole.
Wait,
Okay,
I'm cutting this.
I wasn't hearing you.
Okay,
you got to speak into the mic a little bit, man. We can't hear you. Now. That's better. Yeah.
You can't say you down with lyricists no matter where they're from, and then tell me you never heard Death Certificate. Go ahead. Go.
Yeah. So that's a whole. Let's put a pin on that one, right? But let's just finish the South thing first, right? Let's put a pin on the Death Certificate and Ice Cube and all that, right? Because that's gonna be a whole nother show. So I'm not gonna get into that right now. That's gonna be a whole nother show. All right. Now the reality is that there are other elements of Southern hip hop that I am not fond of, right? So the stuff like you hear from that I would call more, I don't know, is it whisper rap or mumble rap or auto-tune stuff? That's the kind of stuff, frankly, that I don't feel. I don't feel that at all. It's just not something that I think should be in the same category as rap. Now, I do think there's a category for that. I just think you may want to call it turn up music or something, but I don't, because rap to me means that you have lyrics that you can actually distinguish, that are expressed by a rapper who actually has a great voice that you want to listen to, as opposed to a manufactured voice. And because if you're
right, you said something, voice.
Yeah,
I was with you, but voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has a voice that you can actually distinguish. Like it has. It's not just a flow that you can distinguish, but you have a voice that you could distinguish. It's like when I hear that voice, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I know who that is, right?
But Jay-Z doesn't really have a voice.
Dude, whenever I hear I know who Jay-Z is as soon as I hear his voice. It's like a trademark. As soon as I hear that tone, right?
But I agree with what you're saying. Like, I don't do mumble rap. I don't understand, and maybe I'm just old, right? So, like Future, the Migos, those groups.
Although I have to say this about the Migos, there's certain songs that I distinguish between, because some of them are mumble rap, but not all the Migos songs are mumble rap. Fight Night, for example. Fight Night is not mumble rap.
Okay.
So
I'll take your word for it.
Yes.
It's not going to be on my playlist at any time. Not Fight.
I feel you.
And I'm a Southern guy, just for everybody in the audience. I am from Florida. Like, half the music I grew up on, Neo Soul 1 is not listening to. Right? Luke raised me.
Yeah. Bass music.
Right. So
I feel you. Probably not.
I still don't like no more. I just don't.
Yeah. So that's something I do think we should have another conversation about this, though, in a broader context. I do want to make sure we do that, because to me, that's really an important topic and subject matter, not to mention the fact that, you're going to introduce me to Death Certificate and all the elements of Death Certificate. I think we should even just do one show on it, frankly.
We need our friend on there, Gary. Gary might need to be on that call because he's a little bit younger.
Yeah.
So it's a different right?
Yeah, I want to hear his perspective as well. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, all right. So we touched on T.I. a little bit. Go ahead. What'd you say, man?
I was just saying the audience should stay entertained to look forward to that, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun.
Yes, it will be. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. One of the things we talked about already was the term African American.
Yes.
And I thought it was interesting. I read an article recently, and I saw something recently on Instagram from someone who's, I think there's a little echo on your end, man. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's me.
I'm not getting it. Are you getting it?
I was, but okay, I think that's better. All right. Anyway, there's this concept that has grown over the last couple of years of this thing called foundational Black Americans. That seems to suggest that they don't like the title African American. And I think there are two strains of this that I've heard and seen. Number one is African American. Some people under this FBA umbrella suggest that, well, maybe the Africans were already here before slavery, and therefore, we don't need to acknowledge that component of it, which makes no sense to me, because if they were, then they're still Africans. They came from Africa, even if they came earlier. And although, again, I don't see any sort of anthropological historical evidence that actually validates that. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, and it could be. I mean, I think I know there's a book out there by Ivan Van Sertima called "It Came Before Columbus," and so I do believe that there's some historical, evidence potentially out there regarding that. But be that as it may, that doesn't take away from the concept that we are still of African descent. And then some people want to use it as a way to distinguish between African Americans and quote unquote, other groups who have come to America who are of African descent, and somehow glom off of the quote unquote struggle of folks who were descendants of slaves here in the United States. And I have an issue with that, because the reality is that, there's so much historical evidence that shows that there was this interplay between what was going on in the Caribbean, what was going on the west coast of Africa, what was going on in the Americas, to suggest that how are you going to ever distinguish between who came from where, even if people are coming from, the Caribbean now, or even from Africa now. That doesn't mean that they didn't go through colonialism. That doesn't mean that they didn't go through some form of slavery as well. Now, I will say this. I do think that there's something to this whole notion of tracing your ancestry back to slavery for potential restitution purposes in some ways. And so I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm against that completely, but this whole concept of trying to deny our overall connection to the diaspora is, in my mind, pointless from a historical and anthropological perspective, not to mention a political perspective, not to mention the fact that if you look at our culture today, it is an amalgamation of it all. And to try to deny that is just not being realistic. And I think it's being a little bit of tribal in some ways, and it takes away from the overall power that we could have as a collective.
No, everything you said was perfect. But can you let me know if the echo cleared itself up? I figured a little bit.
It's still happening a little bit, but let's keep it rolling, and we'll fix it going forward. It's all good. I will say something else came up, man, that I thought was really funny and interesting. And it does touch on entertainment in some ways, and it touches on politics as well. And that is the 250th National Fair happening currently in Washington, D.C. And as everyone knows, America is about to turn 250 years old on July 4th of this year. And as folks of African descent in this country, obviously, we can be happy about the fact that certain things in America here have happened, but we can be unhappy about others as well. And no one can take that away from our authentic American experience. But what I will say is that I think pretty much everybody's happy they're not at the National Fair right now. I don't care who you are. Because what I can tell. What's that?
Is there anyone there?
Right. So initially, there was supposed to be this whole group of entertainers that were going to be on the bill, quote unquote. And then they all just backed out in the end. And so now they have these military choirs. They've got random people singing. They've got people twirling batons. There's a lot of interesting things happening right now.
We talked about the fact that Milli Vanilli is still performing, and they were listed as one of the acts.
I didn't even know. I mean, I saw that, but I had no idea that Milli Vanilli was still performing it and why they would be performing. That is beyond comprehension.
Right.
That's
Especially there's only one of them alive, right? And none of them.
Oh, really? Okay. I think I did remember a few years back that one of the guys passed away. But again, because we're here not only for your present entertainment value, but we're also here to provide you some historical context. Do you want to talk about the Milli Vanilli fiasco trip?
I mean, which one, right? When it first rolled out?
When they first rolled out.
Because I'm gonna be honest, when I was a kid in college and undergrad, the songs was banging. We had no idea, right? We were dancing to them. We were excited by them. We thought they were great. We thought they were fun. They were pop, R&B pop. They were crossover. And then we found out it wasn't them at all. It was very similar to a lot of the stuff that was going on in dance. It's a big issue with just Milli Vanilli, right? You have a lot of people singing voices, and then you get the video, and they're not there. The difference with Milli Vanilli was they put their names on records. So, back then we got actual records, we got CDs, and you could see who was listed. And Milli Vanilli actually they had their names put on it, but absolute artifice. It was complete. This is the look we want to achieve. They didn't even speak English. One of the guys didn't speak English, right? He was German, I believe.
Well, they were both German, actually. They were both from Munich, Germany, and they came out in, I think it was 1988.
Yep.
And I know they had that song, "Girl, You Know It's True." What'd you say?
Was 88 the greatest year in music or not? Because it was pretty close.
It's interesting that you say that, because in some ways, some people might say 84 might be the greatest year, but I don't know. It's 88 is amazing. So many different. That's why I just say the 80s in itself is just ridiculous.
Right. We had go-go. We had everything. Everything came out at that time. So all of it.
Yeah. Yes. You don't want to get me started on it, because I think the 80s was the most incredible decade for music ever. And if we're gonna go down here, we gotta take this diversion.
Let's do it. I'll take that.
Take this diversion. All right, we're gonna take this diversion. All right, so the 80s and why there's, to me, the greatest decade for music ever, because you had incredible birth of genres. You had either the birth of genres or the ascension of certain genres. And then you had some of the most iconic artists and some of the most iconic performances that ever happened all occur in the 80s. And I'm not just talking about R&B, and I know that I know specifically me, I'm very associated with R&B and neo soul and hip hop and all that. But, I can appreciate music, especially rhythmic music of all genres. And so when I think about what happened, for example, with new wave that came out in the 80s, you had groups like Devo, which I actually loved a number of their songs.
I can't even lie about it. Like they were huge, right?
Yes.
And for younger folks that don't understand how it worked back then, and I'm a 90s guy. My argument's going to be on 90s side. So I'm just showing my own argument right here. But in the 80s, right, what we had was radio that was pretty stratified. If it was black radio, it was black radio. If it was white radio, it was white radio. Black radio played Devo.
Black radio played what? I lost you there, Trip. What'd you say? Devo. Absolutely. Devo. They sure did.
That was huge. Because the fact that they were on black radio is a big deal.
Yeah. And they also, they also played other white artists at the time. David Bowie, because he had a couple of major kind of rhythm-based hits that were incredible. So I mean, you had that. You had songs like Man Eater. You just incredible, and we're not even talking about
Queen.
the fact.
I'm making your argument, but Queen.
Of course,
Queen.
Queen.
That was
Yeah,
R&B, bro. You
yeah.
can't tell me otherwise.
No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely right. But then, of course, you had the birth of hip hop in the 70s. I'm going to give you that, birth of rap. But the ascension of hip hop was the 80s with Run DMC, with the God MC himself, Rakim, coming on the fore, LL Cool J. I mean, just NWA. I mean, you had it all. You had it all in the 80s in terms of rap. And then, of course, at the end of the 80s, who did you have? You had New Jack Swing.
Yeah, no, it was like Public Enemy. In my opinion, Public Enemy set the path.
Oh, true. That's right. And then that's right. So you had a strain of rap that came out that was conscious in nature, but was killing. It was booming. It was killing it. So yeah. I mean, and in terms of lyricists and in terms of voices, Chuck D, come on now. Yeah. So,
but I was say 90s had more. That was the golden era of hip hop.
Well, I mean, if you look at the golden era of hip hop, it starts at 87 and goes to like 95.
Right.
It starts about at 80. Yeah. I would say that it goes to that period of time. But the reality is again, it's a lot of genres. I mean, you had even hair rock was off the chain. I didn't even mention house and club music. It just you can't tell me that the 80s just wasn't the most prolific.
So you go hair bands, and what I'll say is after hair bands, when folks got tired of it, we had grunge in the 90s. Grunge,
yeah,
Nirvana, Soundgarden, Audio Slave, right?
Yeah.
But we also had like female singer-songwriters that were huge.
Oh, absolutely.
And then if you really want to talk about when dance launched, mid to late 90s was when dance was all the way up. House was there.
Well, but I mean, dance really. I mean, if you think about it, it also it kind of birthed in the late 80s, though. It really did.
It birthed.
I mean, it really did. I Got the Power. By Snap. Remember?
89. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. When you're right, you're right.
Yes.
But hip hop, Biggie, Pac, 3000.
Yeah.
That's all 90s, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I can't, you had the Fugees as well. I got to give you that.
We made that on the Fugees, though. Like,
what's that?
In review, coming 180 on the Fugees. I'm not sure if they deserve their footing anymore. The more I listen to the score, I wonder if we just love it because it was a one and done. No, I do. I love it, bro. Don't do that. Like, I love it, but I wonder if it was a one and done.
It was one and done, but I mean, I don't know many that are better. I mean, every song is a hit. Every single one. But it's just like the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I mean, one and done, right?
Yeah, I like lately given her a lot of grief for only having one album that she released that wasn't a live album, because I also think her best song was Adam Lives in Theory. But if you make an album like that, do you actually need to make any other ones?
I know, right? I mean, because her song is intergenerational. My kids listen to that and they love it. And they were born in 98, 2000 and the early 2000s, and they love it, and so it's one of the most intergenerational albums I'm aware of.
Agreed. Now let's get back to this debate real quick, since I took on the sidetrack. I have Wu-Tang Clan. Who you got?
I missed that. What was that?
Who do you have?
Oh, in terms of groups from the 80s? Oh, you got Wu-Tang Clan from the 90s. Okay. All right. So what's the name of the first rap band? What's the name of the first rap band?
Actual band.
Stetsasonic.
Oh,
Stetsasonic.
Yeah. Regional though. We can admit that, right? That was regional.
Stetsasonic. No, everybody heard about stuff. Come on now. Stetsasonic was not regional.
A little bit about them. I didn't know about them.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is that the model for rap back in the 80s was not groups, right? I shouldn't say that. Obviously, Run DMC is a group. You know, and I don't know if you could say that there's any bigger rap group, you know. Yeah, you can't. I don't know if you could say that there's any bigger rap group than Run DMC, frankly. And UTFO, absolutely. But that's interesting though, because to me, UTFO was more regional than Stetsasonic, from my perspective.
Okay, from where we were down here, we were listening to both. For real,
it was big. Okay,
Sonic was something I would listen to. My friends, but UTFO, everyone listened.
I guess so.
We don't get salt without them. We don't get salt and pepper without them.
Yeah. Without UTFO?
Wasn't that UTFO? Oh no, that's Thinking Fresh. My bad. You're right.
Oh no. Yeah. I didn't even mention them. My gosh. So you're making my case for the 80s for me, dude.
I mean, it's the stronger case, if I'm being honest. It's a stronger, better case.
It is. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. All right. I don't want to. We're probably gonna go a little bit long, but there's no way I'm getting into like minute 50 of this and not talk about the biggest thing that's happened over the last, I don't know, decade of my life, potentially. The New York Knicks won the NBA championship.
All right, so let's start out with Miami Heat fan.
Woo!
But I got to give it to you. After both of our lifetimes, for you guys to pull that off, and they did. It looked great.
My goodness. And like I said, when we post this video, we're gonna post some pictures from the parade and all that as well, because I got blessed to be able to attend that.
You went?
We had an amazing time. Yes. I had to, man. Come on now. I had to.
By the way, folks, he's from Jersey. He's not talking about the Nets. He's talking about the Knicks, okay?
Yes. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Dallas. I live in Dallas. Dallas has been incredibly good to me. But at the same time, you know, I love my New York Knicks, and I love my New York, New Jersey area and my culture as well. So
I got bad news for you, bro. We have Bam already, right? And we signed Giannis. So enjoy.
Yeah. Good luck hitting any 3-pointers at all. Good luck with that. See how that works out for you guys. Yeah. It's a new league, my brother. Maybe that duo 20 years ago, you know, could have possibly run the league, but not in this day and age of the NBA.
Wait for this tape to replay. We got a guy who scored 80 points last year.
Yeah, he scored. He beat Kobe's. Yeah, he did. But you know, how often does he hit more than 3-pointers in a game? I don't know. I would love to hear it. So, but anyway, I can't, you know, and of course, you know, back in the late 90s and the early 2000s, the Heat and Knicks, Heat and Knicks it was off the chain. So I'm sure it'll be a renewed rivalry now. Although I think the Knicks will probably have a rivalry with everyone now because everybody's coming at them. But we love it. We love it.
And I'm happy for you. Y'all so long as the Giants are just
okay. All right. What else? Oh, Serena too in sports world, man. we got to touch on Serena's comeback and how exciting that is. I always thought it was interesting how she retired. I mean, I know that part of it was family oriented and related, and so I can understand that piece. But the reality is that she quite possibly is the most dominant athlete of all time. Definitely top 3 to 5 of all time. And so to have her back in the mix is wonderful for not just the tennis world, but for the sports world in general. So
I don't know anyone who's done it in that sport as dominant as she has, other than Ali did. Like, I can't think of somebody who had over that many years that kind of dominant.
Well, I do think there was a run that Tiger had where he
wasn't that long ago. It was like 50 years.
He was unbeatable. That was literally a period of time in the 2010s, literally, where no one felt like they had a chance.
Right. No, I believe that we've been dominant for 10 years, right? But I think I can only think of 2 athletes who over 20 years, 25 years, were so dominant. So Ali started in 63. And we were shocked in 86 when Leon Spinks beat him, 76 when Leon Spinks beat him. And then we felt bad when Larry Holmes beat him at 86. 63 he won his belt. Right? That's Serena. Me and you were talking like this 48-year-old woman, a 43-year-old woman can come out and beat Coco.
Yeah.
Coco Gauff, right? And she can. That's why she's like a generational exception. I've never seen anyone who could do what she did over decades, other than
No, I hear you. Her level of dominance over the years was amazing, and it was so interesting because in the beginning, her sister was the better player, and her father always said that Venus is really, really good, but Serena's the one. And
I'll never forget Chris Everett Lloyd taking exception to their dad saying that if you think Venus is good, wait till you see her sister. Chris Everett Lloyd was so insulted by that, right? Well,
he was a prophet.
They're both goats, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Like, we named the top 20 female tennis players ever.
They're both in the top 10. They're both in the top 10.
Right?
I mean, Serena's obviously number 1. But Venus is in the top 10, no doubt.
Yeah, only reason Venus isn't number 1 is Serena.
I don't know about that, but
I don't know that many of the women that that Serena beat.
Navratilova. I mean, I don't know.
Serena beat Navratilova?
Yeah, but I'm just saying when they're all in their primes, I'm not sure that Venus would be number 2. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's close. But if there's no Serena, right, Venus is winning all of that.
Well, yeah, there's a good point.
Right? Like, he had to have a sister in her way.
Yeah. There's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for that.
That's not an insult. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's.
Yeah, I mean, in some respects, if you look at like Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing and Karl Malone and John Stockton, those guys would have all
only got a title because Michael.
Yeah.
Michael took 2 years off. Olajuwon got his title.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes it's just like a greater athlete is there.
Yep.
True athletes, man. You bring World Cup. I know it ain't on our list, but you ain't talking about the World Cup.
World Cup, yes, World Cup. It's funny because obviously, growing up here in the United States, soccer, football is not something that was a primary thing. Growing up, and where I did grow up, though, it was really kind of big in the Latino communities that I was kind of a part of in many ways, geographically and school. It was really big, but it never had the resonance of American football, basketball, baseball, hockey. But now we're seeing really the outright dominance of soccer globally. It is incredible to see it. Yeah.
So, and I know my mic's a little messed up. I get a chance to talk about it earlier, but when we were talking about African American, right? I grew up in South Florida. And South Florida has such a diaspora of Black people from everywhere.
Yeah.
The neighborhood I grew up in, primarily Bahamian. I grew up playing soccer. That's what we played. We played soccer in the street. We played soccer in the grass. That's Bahamian, Jamaican, the Haitian kids started then, the kids who were there, the Peruvian kids, the Venezuelan kids. So for me, it's nice to see the U.S. finally catch up. But, we had Nanny Cabillas, who was the Peruvian Pele, was my favorite player. But then just said this Pele was New York Cosmos.
He played for the New York Cosmos after playing for Brazil. Yeah.
I really did. So I'm enjoying watching the U.S. engage, and also I think it brings to light, women have dominated soccer, absolutely dominated soccer
here in the U.S. Yeah.
But we don't. But yet, and still, it took now for it to just become some global. Nationally recognized that it's the global sport. It is the global sport, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way I can't disagree with that at all. It is kind of the common denominator across the globe. Yeah, no doubt about it. And so soccer, it's kind of cool.
I'll say soccer and boxing. Those are my two that I think are the common denominators.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, because those are the sports that are literally popular globally across the globe, and they're not. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, basketball is making inroads.
It's going big. It's going real big, bro.
Yeah, it is making inroads, but it's not. I don't even think it's close to being where soccer is, though.
I know, but it's taking Europe by storm. You can tell it in the league, right? Look at the league.
Oh, absolutely. It's taking Europe by storm, and Africa as well. I mean, it is amazing.
I mentioned Bam, right? Bam from Miami, Bam from Ohio. I mentioned him earlier. He's African.
Yeah. I know he's playing for the U.S. team, but he could very easily play for the Nigerian team. As Giannis plays for the Greek team, he could very well play for the Nigerian team as well. So, yeah.
Too bad they play for the Heat.
So yeah, but it's good stuff. One of the things we want to touch on before we ended the show was how there's this new but not so new thing that's dominating our lives in many ways, and that's AI, man. And it's come up in so many different contexts of our lives right now. Even in conjunction with the production of the show, there are elements of it that have made life easier for us because of AI. We both happen to, would I say, moonlight as lawyers? No, we're actually primarily, I guess, lawyers, right? And we know that AI is coming for our profession in many ways. Although I'll be honest with you, right now, it's one of the more incredible tools that I can use in my profession now, and so it's incredible to see it. But we'd be remiss if we didn't touch on how important it is for people to understand the impact of AI, understand how and what it means for them and their family and their children and their children's children in terms of planning for its impact and what it's going to mean for them, how to take advantage of it, how to be on the right side of AI. I always say that it's going to be incredibly important to be on the right side of AI 15 to 20 years from now, because those who are on the wrong side of AI, unfortunately, I think are going to suffer in this economy, are going to suffer from a resource allocation perspective. And so I'm a big proponent for folks to learn about it and figure out how they can be on the right side.
I wonder if there is a right side, right? Like, I think we all have to be equipped with it, but AI is one of those things that scares me because it's self-perpetuating. It can learn from itself, it can grow from itself. It doesn't need us.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there will come a point where it definitively will not need us. And there is a question as a society as to, do you ever give a tool of that power the ability to not need you? And it's an existential question, honestly, that I think we
But
have
Ray,
to
I'll
ask.
take it further. Can you stop a tool with that power from not needing you?
Yeah. But again, that's why I'm saying I think it's important as this thing is ascending right now, before it gets to that point, for that question to be answered. And unfortunately, I think companies are so concerned about losing out and losing ground from a competitive standpoint that they are not thinking about the implications of it from a standpoint of what it means existentially for us. And someone's got to make those choices and those decisions. And that's why I do believe it's important to quote unquote be on the right side of it, because you know you have to have it as a buffer for you. You have to have it as a tool for you. You have to have it as an extension for you, but you don't want it to come for your ability to make a living. You don't want for it to come for you for your ability to be safe. Those are incredible things to think about.
Those are over already, right? Honestly, let's be honest, right? Discovery won't be done by incoming attorneys and engineers. It just won't. Not even
Yeah.
five, right? You driving your car, you won't be
Yeah.
left and right turns and wondering if
Yeah.
your car is in your car.
No, you're absolutely right. Self-driving vehicles are going to be, yeah,
So
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I do think this is, again, another topic that we can expand on in another episode. And I'm looking forward to doing it because I do think it has some implications for the music business as well. And so,
music, man. I know you want to get off. Let me just do this one. One of my favorite AI songs ever was BDL Drizzy. You didn't hear the whole Kendrick Drake battles, right? So there was a guy, he made a song and he used AI to make an old song called BDL Drizzy, right? And as a comeback, Metro Boomin, to respond to Drake, did the first ever, what do they call it? Instead of it was like a diss, but it was just acapella, discapella.
Okay.
And it was just BBL. He took the BBL Drizzy song and remixed it. That's
Wow.
how AI can be good for music, right? You got Metro jumping on a AI song. But typically what you're seeing now, you see artists, they'll release not artists, but you'll see people release a song and they'll say it's the latest Drake drop or the latest Kendrick drop. And it's just AI.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know when that battle was going on, there was at least one or two songs that I heard of Kendrick's response, that was AI. And it was really interesting stuff that folks were coming up with, very inventive and et cetera. But it was obviously AI. So, but again, it's a topic that I think we should definitely touch on in some greater degree in another episode, because I do think it has so many incredible implications on so many different dimensions in terms of the music business and the entertainment business as well. So look forward to that dropping, my folks. And I do want to say, man, it has been incredible getting back together and putting our show back on wax, quote unquote, because we've been doing it. We just haven't been putting it on wax. So
I don't know what wax is.
Tell them what it is, Trip.
It's the new style. And we put it on wax, BC Boy.
Yeah, well, look it up. Look it up. Putting on wax. Look it up. That's all I can say. But it's been a blast. I love it all every single time. And until next time, we're wishing you a cool breeze. All right. Peace.